What's up, everybody? Good morning. Almost to the end of another week, and it's time for Pass Rush Friday. And after 2 straight weeks of the team going pretty crazy, it quieted down a little bit this week, which was fair to expect. We were playing a much better quarterback. We were playing a better offense. Maybe not statistically, but that's a much better offense than the offenses we'd played the previous 2 weeks. So you would expect a drop off. Maybe not this drastic, but this is how the ebbs and flows of the NFL go. Real quick here, just to put this out there before I start the video. Tonight's going to be a special night on Twitch because I am going to be starting a brand new game, Spider-Man 2, on the PS5. So tune in tonight when I turn this Twitch stream on, probably a little after dinner, and we'll be giving the brand new video game release our first try. Okay, so pass rush. Starting with the defensive line, it was definitely muted compared to the last really 3 weeks. We had one pressure from Draymond Jones, which I think was a sack, and we had one pressure from Jarran Reed, which I also believe was a sack. Could have gotten things a little crossed up there, but I believe both guys played very well in this game. They had plays against the run as well. We stopped the run really well, so I continue to be impressed with this defensive line. It looks way better than I think any reasonable person could have expected before the season started. Nothing else from anybody else, although it should be noted that nobody else played, really. Mario Edwards played, what was it, 15 snaps? Cameron Young played like 5, and Miles Adams played like 11. Because we were barely ever on the field, Draymond Jones and Jarran Reed were the only guys who had to play a lot of snaps, so that's what you get. Jarran Reed, by the way, is almost to my preseason projection for him. He has 9 QB pressures. I projected 10, so he's clearly going to crush that. And, I mean, I don't need to tell anybody that he's playing way better than any reasonable person could have expected, but these numbers show it. Like he's doing it on both sides. Some of these other guys, they could stand to step up a little bit in the pressure category, but again, they're doing their job in other areas like stopping the run, so I'm not even tripping on it really that much. Linebacker, there was nothing really going on here. We did send Wagner and Brooks on a few blitzes, but none of them got home. So 0 QB pressures going on here. But still, overall, you look at the big picture through 5 games, and I feel like we're doing a really good job generating pressures from the interior linebackers. And in this game, like I said, we tried to blitz them. Sometimes it just doesn't get home, and I just hope they don't abandon it just because it didn't really work that well in this one game. Okay, edge rushers, again, quieter than we're used to from the last few weeks. Uchenna Nwosu did have 2 QB pressures, so he had a pretty good game, pretty disruptive. He's starting to really work his way into things. Boye Mafe had 1, and that 1 pressure was a sack. It was kind of a cheap one because he was completely unblocked. I don't know what the Bengals offensive line was doing on that play, but he got basically a free sack. But he is trending positively as well these last 3 weeks, or 3 games. He's got 6 pressures in his last 3 games played. After starting out the season with a couple of goose eggs, including missing a game, definitely a trend in the right direction. Unfortunately, that's it for the edge rusher crew. Taylor, Hall, and of course Tyreek Smith didn't even play. But it should be noted, Taylor didn't play that much and Hall barely played. When the defense is getting the offense off the field that often, that frequently, playing that well, you're only going to have to play these backup guys so much. So it kind of makes sense that the production wouldn't be there. Cornerbacks. We did get 1 from the cornerbacks, and I kind of had to step in on this one. I gave Witherspoon a pressure. There was a play in this game where I feel very strongly that he got a pressure on Burrow. PFR did not give it to him. I say nay. I say nay. He got a pressure in that game. It was the bubble screen where Witherspoon was able to hurry it along a little bit and I think force an incompletion. But I don't know how that's not a pressure. It clearly affects the play. It affects the throw. To me, that is a pressure. I think that's just an example of PFR trying to be very stringent here. So for the second time, I'm adding another pressure to Witherspoon's total. I think our goal should be to find a little bit of a happy medium between PFR and PFF. So Witherspoon, he's up to 4, which is, I mean, this is clearly a very good part of his game. which I was not expecting as a Seahawks fan going into this season. But now that he's going to be playing in the slot a lot, it looks like, because he's playing really well there, I think we can very safely conclude that he's going to get a lot more as this season goes on. So this slot corner blitz, which we haven't done a ton of since Coleman left way back in the late 10s, it's got some gas to it. So I'm pretty excited about that. So that's a pressure from the cornerbacks. And we had the Jamal Adams pressure that forced in, I believe, an incompletion. So that's one pressure from the safeties. Obviously, Diggs, not really doing anything like that. Love, nothing. You get to 7. So Joe Burrow drops back to pass somewhere around 40 times, a little less than 40 times in this game. And you get 7 QB pressures. That's not great. I don't even really know if it's good. I don't think it's bad. Like, bad is week 1. What we did in week 1 in terms of QB pressure was bad. This is just kind of disappointing. Could have been better. The Bengals' offensive line is just okay, but they have a really good quarterback who has a pretty deep understanding of how to deal with a bad offensive line because, let's face it, he's been dealing with one his whole NFL career, and he understands how to evade it, how to get the ball out, and things like that. Now, I think there were some things within our control that could have been better. I think we could have gotten more from our edge players. I think our blitzes could have worked better. Excuse me. Defensive line, I know they weren't on the field that much, but they probably could have done a little bit better than this. So, I don't know. It's not what we want, right? We don't want to see 7 QB pressures in a whole game where the other team has to throw the ball a decent amount. But we are well on pace, although obviously the Giants game wrecked the curve here a little bit. We are well on pace to meet my preseason dreams of 170 pressures this year. So I'm going to be pretty at peace with that, I think. So Pass Rush Friday is going relatively well. And look, we're going to have opportunities in some of these games to really generate pressure. Games where we play with a lead, right? This Bengals game, we were behind pretty much the whole game. When you're behind, I know the Bengals passed a lot, but you can't get off on your pass rush the same way as when you're ahead. You're going to be playing worse offensive lines. You're going to be playing worse quarterbacks, worse offenses, worse receiver cores, and these kinds of things are going to lead to some pressure. So I think we'll get there. This Bengals team is just, right now, relatively well equipped to keep the pressure off their quarterback. So just an okay day, nothing special, nothing over the top. And I think that's really all that need be said. Sometimes things are just okay. And I know people like things to be more definitive and stronger, but sometimes things are just okay, you know? I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. More videos coming later today.